see your lips move.
Kevin, you're really.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the Supervisors Meeting, August 30th, 2020. Is there any changes to the agenda?
I haven't.
Meet with department heads and elected officials. Sarah Doty, payroll clerk, auditor's office.
Good morning. Just keeping busy as usual. Nothing new to report at this time.
Thank you. Stuart, how's the IT department doing?
Staying busy. Right now it's just Brandon and I, because Colin's on vacation, so.
You mean you let him go on vacation?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I have to have a break sometime.
Thanks, Stuart.
Yep.
Kevin, how's the sheriff's department?
Doing well. Our jail population's at 81 this morning, a little higher, 8 out of county, I believe it was. Looks like Lisa has a busy court schedule ahead of her, so maybe we'll see some of those numbers come down, but who knows? We'll keep maintaining and keep up with it. But that's about all I've got.
Well, the busier you keep her, the cleaner the streets are gonna be, so I hope she keeps busy.
That's the hope.
Thank you, Kevin. Zach, how's Southeast Iowa Regional Planning doing?
Well, things are going well. Been pretty busy here lately. Have, 3 subdivisions on the agenda today. Got a couple other ones. Just had one submitted yesterday, and a couple floodplain permits and zoning permits too. So just been a little busy here the last few weeks. And, Jared was gone a couple weeks ago. He'll be gone for probably another week or 2 again. So I'll be the main person people are gonna have to come see. So. Unfortunately, they gotta work with me more than him, so.
Blasted.
Is that why he's gone so much?
What's that?
Is that why he's gone, so he don't have to work?
Work with me? Maybe that's what the reason is.
Work on your
Probably hasn't
attitude.
quit it yet. What's that?
So you need to work on your attitude.
Thanks, Zach.
That's all I've got.
Shakes his head, it's like.
I'll probably catch you saying one of these days.
Lisa, how's the county attorney's office?
Judging by the number of warrant requests I had in my inbox yesterday, yes, Kevin's people are quite busy. Otherwise, everything's going well. Just staying busy, working on some administrative things that I had grand delusions that I would complete during my medical leave and did not. So.
You're not expected to work while you're on medical leave, so. Thanks, Lisa.
Yes, sir.
Chris, conservation.
Good morning. I guess kind of big news today. So we've been doing water quality sampling around the watershed throughout Big Hollow. So we have 5 sites all the way around the 4,400 acre watershed around Big Hollow. And we do monthly sampling, and then whenever we get a rain event, a sizable rain event, which has been pretty few and far between, we do event sampling as well. The last event sample we did was, we got about 2 inches of rain up there around Big Hollow on August 8th. And I just got the reports back today, and the numbers seem pretty high, so I forwarded them to our engineer that wrote the water quality plan, and he said those are some of the highest phosphorus numbers you'll ever see in natural waters. And so the reason the lake is green is because of that. And so that's what we've been working for the last couple of years, is trying to get this watershed plan, and get the Soil and Water District is working on getting the watershed coordinator put together to work with the DNR. Get somebody hired yet by the end of the year possibly, so that they go out and work with the landowners throughout the watershed to try to do conservation practices on their lands to try to keep that nasty stuff from getting into the lake. But those numbers are pretty astounding. And so that's, I mean, we've been crazy dry, and so whatever fell on the land, with the ground being this hard, you know, a lot of it ran right off. It's just, yeah, it's going straight into the lake. There's nothing that one particular site, there's nothing that stops it from running right down the stream. It just runs straight into the lake. So, yeah. So that's
Is it safe to swim?
Yeah, so we do water quality sampling at the beach every week, and so it's not bacteria or any of the health hazard stuff, it's nutrients, so it's phosphorus that causes the algae blooms. We don't have any of the bad algae, the microcystin either. We take those samples every week, and we haven't had a single sample yet this year that was any sort of health issue. It's just the nutrients in the lake, and then it grows. It's like putting Miracle Grow in the plants. We're just dumping it into the water, and it's gonna grow plants. And what we get is all that duckweed floating on top of the lake. It's, I mean, that lake, what you guys saw when we did the work session.
This is as bad as it's ever been before. Is it not?
Yeah. So, and it simply isn't going to improve until we do some watershed improvements. There's nothing we can do in the lake to keep, we've got to stop the nutrients from getting into the lake in the first place. So, but we're working on it. We're ahead of the curve compared to some lakes. So, that's pretty cool.
Okay, thanks, Chris. Janelle, how's the treasurer's office?
Good morning. We're keeping busy. Those tax payments are rolling in, and motor vehicle is just as equally busy. So we're busy.
Thank you. Ken Hyman, Seal Region?
Good morning. Yeah, we're staying busy also, just normal business, helping people, so nothing new to report.
Okay, thank you. Harry Johnson, County Auditor.
Good morning. Excuse me. Today is the first day that residents and voters can submit their absentee ballot request forms. And they can submit them today, but ballots will not be mailed until October the 19th. I got my first phone call this morning asking for some, so we're getting ready to mail those out to her. Tomorrow is the last day that Soil and Water and Ag Extension and NPPO candidates can submit their papers to be on the ballot for the November election. So we're staying busy with all that.
Okay, thank you. Brian Carter, Secondary Roads.
Good morning. I guess just a few reminders. We are starting up our pinch projects that we do. We got North Prairie Grove, as we've already talked about this morning a little bit. They're working on 110 beyond the Danville area. In fact, the next 2 or 3 roads are out of the Danville area. So just to kind of give you a heads up, the one they're working on today is 110, which would be west of 34. So Pleasant Grove closure is coming along good. The contractor's hoping to pour concrete on Thursday, as long as all the scheduling works out. So, so that's coming along. It's still probably a week, probably at least a couple weeks from being open, kind of a thing. It's not like we're right on the cusp of it, but it's progress, and that's the goal. The grading job on 115th is going very well. Made a lot of headway, and that that landscape has changed for the better. And then I mentioned that our auction on our sheds wrapped up. The 2 outlying sheds that we got rid of. The Pleasant Grove site brought $37,750.
Wow.
The Mediapolis site brought $45,500, which I don't think one of those numbers would have been what we would have predicted, but I guess who knows. So that's a grand total of $83,250 out of those 2 sites. It puts them back onto the tax roll since we're not using them anymore. So I think that was probably more productive than I imagined as far as cleaning up stuff. So
That one up Mediapolis property must be pretty expensive up there, but that's not much. Just the building and that lot isn't very
it's
big.
just a single lot. It's
Yeah.
not a lot of room.
No.
So I don't know.
Well, that's good.
Either way, so I'd give you that update, and just a lot of stuff going on. We are, if you see a lot of dump trucks downtown from us, even though it's the end of August, we are reloading on salt. So we're hauling salt for the next 3 days to fill up our stockpile, I guess is how I would put it. So that is going on also today.
Thank you.
Yep.
How's the ditching going? We through with that or still?
Oh, we'll never be done with ditching.
I mean, for the year, I know you'll never be done with it.
I'm hoping we run till December, honestly, Jim.
Is that right?
Yeah, we'll run until frost chases us out, or until we set it on a wet stretch or something. The last 2 years, we made it into December. Yeah, the biggest battle with ditching is once you get into, like, this stretch, when we finally start getting moisture, it's not so much that it'd be too wet to ditch, it's that we need to move our blade guys back into blades instead of in trucks so we can blade the gravel roads. Cause those are kind of our bodies, to haul dirt. So it's going well. They're on Beaverdale. They've been on Beaverdale since we started this summer. It's been kind of start and stop kind of a thing. But they're moving again, and in fact, that's one of the pieces of equipment that just finally came in. That excavator was replaced, and we have new laser equipment on it also. And so they're moving. In fact, they're ditching today. That's one of the other things going on today. So, but we'll be on Beaverdale the rest of the year, and we'll be on Beaverdale next year too. It's a long road with plenty to do.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
Yep.
Angie, how's the safety department doing?
Good morning, it's going well, I don't really have anything new to report, so.
Okay, thank you. Natalie, recorder's office?
Good morning. OHVs and snowmobiles, they don't expire till December 31st, but September 1st, so what is that, Thursday? You can start renewing those on September 1st, so. And hopefully then, we're gonna do our soft launch to be able to renew those online as well.
Okay, that'll be great. Thanks, Natalie. Christopher, you know, public health.
Good morning. We continue to be busy with immunization clinics, but I don't really have anything new to report.
So I see in the paper where you're getting that Omicron, or that's the way you pronounce it, I guess.
Yeah, the Omicron, so the bivalent is the vaccine.
Yeah.
We hope to have that. We have pre-ordered that, but we don't have an emergency use authorization
Yeah.
for that yet, and we don't have any of the vaccines. So we really don't have a date as to when we will have that available. So we're just kind of waiting to see. I think it's just a matter of them, Pfizer and Moderna getting the authorization for that emergency use.
Thanks, Krista. Rodney Gleason, you snuck in on us.
Yeah, sorry, really busy. We just got a lot of different projects, different things going on. We're about half staff this week, so I appreciate everybody's patience. We won't quite get to you as fast as we normally would probably this week, but we'll do our best. So that's all I have this week. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Rodney. Did I miss anybody on there, Stuart? Okay. Moving on to correspondence. I have none.
I have none.
Okay, we do have correspondence here. It's Great River. It says, to whom it may concern, maybe I ought to add Mr. Broker and Mr. Campbell on here, huh? According to section 4.05 of the loan agreement between Des Moines County, Iowa, and Southeast Iowa Regional Medical Center Corporation, formerly known as Great River Medical Center, the borrower agrees that it will annually, on or before August 15th of each year, furnish the issuer with a statement of the principal amount of the bonds outstanding as of the immediate preceding June the 30th. According to our records, the principal amount of the health facilities revenue bond series 2012A was $12,666,666.67. The outstanding principal amount of the health facility bond series 2012B was $6,666,666.67 as of June the 30th, 2022. If you have any questions, please feel free to call Shannon Leffler at 319-768-3626. Sincerely, Southeast Iowa Regional Medical Center.
Shane, this was well before your time, and Jim, it might have been before your time, I can't remember. It's been somewhere around 10 years ago. The hospital approached the county to, I guess, sponsor some conduit bonds. They were building Klein Center, and the way it worked was, after the lawyers explained it 2 or 3 times, was they could use the county's ability to borrow money, and the proceeds of those loans would be non-taxable to the bank or bonding company they got the money from. The county would have no liability at all, but So we agreed to do that, so I don't remember. If you were on the board, you just got there, and you might not have been on the board.
I think it happened a year or two before I got on the board.
Might have anyway, but that's what it is. And every year they send us the letters that they're paying off the bond, so.
Okay. Okay, shall move on to discussion and vote. Item A is a second public hearing, repeal of the ordinance 56, authorizing the operation of all-terrain vehicles, all-terrain vehicles, and road utility vehicles in Moines County, Iowa.
I move that we open the second public hearing.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker.
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. The purpose of this ordinance is to repeal in its entirety, Des Moines County ATV, UTV ordinance approved October 2nd, 2018, and recorded as documented on 2018-004888 and amended on November the 2nd, 2021, and recorded as documented 2021-006587. The repeal of this ordinance is due to approval of House File 2130 and signed by the Iowa Governor on June the 13th, 2022 regarding regulations and operations of all-terrain vehicles and off-road utility vehicles in the state. So, their new ordinance has
Trump's ours.
trumped ours twice. Do you have any, anybody in here have any concerns on this? We shall give the public, if they're listening to us, we shall give them 2 minutes to call in at 319-753-8203, extension 4, or they can email board@dmcounty.com.
While we're waiting, it is my understanding, while Lisa's here, that we can waive the third reading of this repeal. Okay. If we just include that in the motion, okay. Thank you.
I have questions regarding this. So my board's gonna take this up at our board meeting next week, because obviously this will apply to us. Previously, under the county ordinance, we just approach it as if our roads and parking lots were just part of the county system. Said that any area that's open to normal vehicular traffic will allow ATVs and UTVs, and I think we'll probably continue to do that. My question is, I know the ordinance, or the state code now reads that counties can't charge a user fee. Can conservation departments, since we're not technically part of the county road system, if we were to allow people to ride ATVs and UTVs inside our parks and our roads, can we charge a fee?
That's
That's gonna be a good question. You might wanna get ahold of your
Lisa.
Yes, Lisa.
Tell me, Lisa.
Because I know he's done a lot of research on this
Okay.
particular statute, so just email to
So,
him.
and it goes a little bit beyond that, it's our discussion about next week, but revenue.
Believe it or not, 2 minutes are up.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Motion to approve the repeal of ordinance 56 and waive the third hearing.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker.
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. We have a resolution 2022-58 for the final plat of the Pinch Point subdivision, and I'll turn this over to you, Zach.
Yeah, so this is a request from Brian Portwood for final plat approval of Pinch Point subdivision. It's in the Union Township, down at the south end of the county, adjacent to the Skunk River. Includes 2 lots, approximately 15.5 acres. Lot 1 contains farmland and timber, again, right up along the river, and lot 2 contains a single-family home and ag buildings. Following subdivision, he intends to sell lot 2 as the farmland and keep lot 1 where he wants to build a cabin for recreational use. I think this was on the agenda last week. There were some things with access to the property that we just wanted to have some time to talk through with the subdivider, make sure he was aware of, which we've done, and talked to his attorney as well. So I think we're satisfied with where we're at, so we'd recommend approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. We will sign these after
Yep.
the meeting for you. Zach.
Yeah, we've got a couple more, so.
Yeah.
See that? Now we have resolution 2022-59 for the final plat of the New Bush subdivision. And that also, will turn that over to you.
This is David Bush requesting final plat approval for New Bush subdivision. It's located in Pleasant Grove Township. Includes one lot totaling 1.3 acres. Lot 1 contains an existing single-family home that will be split off from a 3-acre parcel that includes several ag buildings. This will be split off from surrounding 140-acre farm. The 3-acre parcel was already split off from the 140-acre farm in 2016. No major change or plan, and potentially it might rebuild, tear the house down and rebuild it, but no other plans for this lot. So we would recommend approval of New Bush subdivision.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes.
Edna would be proud. Actually, Edna would be upset because they're trying to do something on her property, but it's gonna be all
Next, we have resolution 2022-60, final plat of Lewis Family Farm subdivision.
All right. Like I said, this one I'm not as familiar with. Jared was working on this one directly. We've got Russell Lewis requesting final plat approval of Lewis Family Farm subdivision. It's located in Danville Township, includes 3 lots totaling about 100 acres. It's intended to split it into 3 lots, family farm into 3 lots, and divide it between family members. So lot 1 will contain 46 acres of all farmland. Lot 2 will be 51 acres. Almost all is farmland, but there's a manufactured home and then a couple ag buildings. And then lot 3 will be 3.4 acres, which just includes the old home and a little, very small amount of farmland. So no plans for changes of use, at least at the time. So with that, we would recommend approval of Lewis Family Farm subdivision.
Motion to approve.
right. Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Now we have a Class C liquor license for the Price Wedding on Barn on the Ridge. Everything on this looks in order. I reviewed it. Do you have any questions on this, Sheriff?
No concerns.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Now we have an abatement request by the city of West Burlington for Westland Mall Plat 2, lot partial 10-35-20 202-007. Says here, the city of West Burlington is requesting the release of any and all property taxes associated with the following property. Legal description is West Burlington, Westland Mall, Plat 2, Lot P, parcel 1035-202-007, 3.01 acres. The property is a retention pond. If you have any questions, please contact me.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. And we have a fireworks permit for the Stumptown Shooters. Never heard of them before, but I think Jared would get a kick out of that name. This is going to take effect on 10/1 of '22 at 8:30 PM. It's on our Irish Ridge Road. I think that 14133, is that your address?
That's Barn Ridge, yeah.
Barn on the Ridge address, yeah. And it's been signed by Mark Crook, the Fire Marshal of Burlington. Everything looks in order here. So what's your gentleman's wishes on this?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yep.
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Now we, approval of a consulting engineer contract, FR-11-5HWA number 143211.
This is a design contract for the replacement of the bridge on Upper Flint Road. We had originally planned, in fact, we ran a contract through, probably been a couple of months ago now, for a rehab project. But after further evaluation, the bridge deck has enough delamination or damage, or just whatever you wanna call it, age, that we're gonna look at a replacement instead of the prior plan. So, it's just it's a new contract to make things clean, but ultimately it's just replacing the prior contract. And I would recommend approval. In all likelihood, the project itself, when we get to that point for replacement, will probably be ARPA money on this project. But anyway, so we've already discussed this in prior work sessions and such, and I'd recommend approval, please.
Thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. We have the minutes from the regular meeting on August 23rd, 2022.
Move to approve.
Second.
Sarah?
Shane McCampbell,
Yes.
Tom Broker,
Abstain.
Jim Carrey.
Yes. Do we have any other business, gentlemen?
I have none.
I have none. Future agenda items?
Have none.
We're gonna have a work session with regional planning.
It's some point probably early, mid-September.
Mid-September.
Is that what you're thinking about, or something?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah, once we find a date, it may, we're gonna have to push it back, since Jared's gonna be gone here for the next week or so. But yeah,
Get hold of Terry and.
I think they're looking at, maybe calendar now, 6th or 12th maybe. We may have to push that back a week or so. I don't know, we're supposed to meet this week and talk about it, but he's gonna be gone, so.
Is there a plan for the county handbook?
We're putting the finishing touches on it even as you speak. I think,
Will we look it over again?
you emailed Emily, didn't you, last night or today, Terry?
We were making notes and.
Yeah.
There's one in the works right now.
very, this close.
And then once those are in there, then we will send it around to all the department heads one more time.
We also need to look at the animal control ordinance.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's been hanging out there for a while.
It took 2 years to put it together, now we need to change it.
Yeah.
Don't be so excited about that, Amy.
Okay, committee reports.
I attended the Iowa State Association of Counties last week, and they had some interesting seminars on county responsibilities for pipelines and the ARD guidelines and some interesting discussions. And this morning I went to a fair board meeting. I think the hog barn is the lower of the, I think they're gonna jack that up about 8 feet. So that might be kind of interesting. It'll improve the airflow. It gets really hot in there because it's got a metal roof. I didn't realize that they put water sprinklers on the roof when they have that to try to keep that cool. So this will increase airflow, make it a little cooler. And then there's that noise that apparently those two metal roofs that are at different heights create. So they think that might be sometime in September. Yeah, help the acoustics, and that might happen later in September.
They're gonna do that fast, I know they talked to Mark.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, and that they said the fair went well. Their number of participants was up from last year, but then after they're having trouble getting as many people back after the pandemic, and it's really hard to get volunteers. It's a lot harder than it was a few years ago. It's really tough.
Okay, thank you. I also attended the ISAC meeting. Like Tom said, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. Final plan on ARPA is out there, and I asked the guy, one of them, to sign and seal. He said, well, it could be that young guy. So hopefully it's all taken care of on the final plans. And that's all I had. So we have time for public input. Anybody from the public have anything to say, they can call in at 319-753-8204, 8203, extension 4. That's 753-8203, extension 4, or they can email board@dmcounty.com. That's board@dmcounty.com. We'll give you 2 minutes to do that. Does anybody from the public have any comments here? Everybody's pretty quiet.
Okay, I'll bite.
There you go.
Since I'm here, I'll just take the opportunity to give a brief update on some City of Burlington items. So, Mr. Chairman, good morning.
Morning.
Supervisor Broker, Supervisor McCampbell.
Good morning.
Nice to see you guys. Tiger update. A lot of work going on, obviously, on the riverfront, Jefferson Street, especially on the west end of Jefferson and south end of Main Street. Everything that you see opened up today should be completed by the end of the construction season, weather permitting, of course.
Everything?
Everything that you see opened today will be closed up and finished by the end of the construction season. So that's 2.5 blocks on Jefferson Street. That's Division to Angular on Main Street. They should be starting the west side of Main Street by mid to late September, and we hope that that'll be completed by Thanksgiving. And then the riverfront, they're telling us that we expect everything on the riverfront to be done by the end of the construction season. So, again, weather permitting, right? So we'll keep our fingers crossed for drier weather that we've seen. That'll be good. So, any questions on any of that Tiger stuff? I know it's kind of a pain to navigate around downtown and whatnot, but the improvements are looking good. So.
Define construction season.
Yeah, weather permitting, right? So
All year.
all year, yeah.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
I take my dog up on the end of Jefferson Street there where it meets Central.
Yeah.
they took out all them parking places that they had on them businesses, but that's not part of the Tiger grant up there. Why did they,
Tiger goes all the way to Central.
okay, why did they make that so wide there? And then they came back in and they cut it out, made it a little wider, but you still can't turn in there if there's a truck there.
With the bump outs and the turn off of
The
Central.
bump out, the turn
Yeah.
offs, it's terrible. And believe it or not, where I take my dog to get the haircut, they are busy.
They are busy.
So you've gotta park out on Central, or you gotta park way down there and take the dog in.
Yep.
I think that was a very, very poor design.
I appreciate that. We did lose a few parking spaces through the entire corridor of Jefferson Street. But the entire design concept was to be more pedestrian friendly and to have a calming effect on traffic, to slow traffic down and create less maneuvering for traffic in the downtown area and have it be more pedestrian friendly.
Was bump out, wasn't that part of the money? I can't remember, but wasn't that part of the money that we had to include those or something like that? Or?
Well, the part of the Tiger grant that was supported was to make it more pedestrian friendly, to make it more walkable, bikeable, accessible area. That was a big cornerstone of why we received the grant.
When I was down there, I didn't think the bump outs were gonna be so big. They're just bigger now since John's been down there. I just want that added for the record.
I love that phrase, calming effect on traffic.
That was nice too.
If things are closer together, people tend to slow down, and that's by design, right? So, and then just a quick update on riverboats. You may see the Viking boat here today on a trial run. They do not have passengers to disembark or load up today, but for the first time, we might see the Viking boat in town today. If you get a chance, go down and see it if it's here. If not, just Google it. They have some pretty impressive images on YouTube and on their website. It's an amazing vessel.
Any idea on when? Would it be morning or afternoon, late afternoon?
Not exactly sure.
It's already cruised by and gone for a loop.
Is it already? Yeah, okay, so it's already been through, sorry.
Well, they might park here,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah,
They might
yeah.
park here, but they've already cruised by once this morning.
Now, they will be here for their first docking, we're told, again, right, on September 8th, next week after Thursday. So that'll be their first official docking so far. And the American Queen will be here again on Saturday. So look for 300 or 400 more passengers to disembark on Saturday. That's all I have, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, nobody on the line there, Stuart, email? With an eye, we're out of here.
Aye.
Aye. We do have a work session coming up with the City of Burlington on the ARPA funds, but we're gonna take about a 5-minute break here and sign these papers for Zach.
We're not a bunch of young guys like John and the council. We need a break after we.
Intermission.
You didn't have any.
We just need to meet, kind of go through a budget on the Lewis family. Manager for the city of Burlington.
John Phillips, Mayor of Burlington.
Thank you, gentlemen. Okay, we'll turn it over to you.
Present a handout to the board here.
Sure.
Yes, thank you.
There goes Shane. I had an email I was supposed to read. Anybody else get them?
We wanted to talk today on a project we're looking to do in our park system here in Burlington. The Dankworth Park Playground. You're all familiar with Dankworth Park, our most prominent active park on the southern end of town that.
You aren't getting rid of that curly Q slide though. I was on that when I was little.
No. This is the wooden play structure in Dankworth, kind of in part of the parks there that's outlived its useful life. It's over nearing 40 years old. We've removed quite a few events from it. The tire swing, the spinner, some seesaws. It's just past its useful life. And we've seen such great increase in use of our parks and playgrounds over the last couple of years with the pandemic, and that's really not representative of our community, of our county and area, that having that playground there. So wanting to replace that. And currently in our park system in Burlington and I believe in Des Moines County, we don't have a fully accessible, inclusive playground in our park system. We have playgrounds with certified mulch that is technically wheelchair accessible, but it's not, doesn't meet the standard that we want to have for our parks and playgrounds. So going through this process, we had quite a bit of community input last fall. Had a public survey, a couple open houses, got a lot of input and kind of saw what the community, what the area, what the region wanted in a park and playground. And a lot of that input was based on inclusive, accessible features. As you see on the second page here, wanting sensory walls, instruments, swings, synthetic or rubber surfacing, something other than mulch that allows good access to the events. Inclusive play equipment, 94% ranked that as a high priority or medium priority. And just creating something that's a destination to our region, to our community, to our county, where people don't have to drive to. You may have seen the playground down in Keokuk, Bentley's playground. That's a wheelchair accessible playground. We don't have something like that here in Burlington, here in Des Moines County even.
Where is that, Keokuk? Not to interrupt, sorry to interrupt.
Tolme Park.
Yeah.
Is that how you say Tolme?
Yeah.
Where's, is that close to downtown?
It's an offshoot of downtown. It's about, it's been a while since I've been there, maybe 4 or 5 blocks away off the main drag.
What do you call
Kind of in
it?
the northeast part of Keokuk.
Northeast, right.
Tolme?
It's Tolme, I think it's Tholmie. I don't remember how they spell it, Tom.
But if you search Bentley's playground, that'll take you to that site. That is more of a specific type playground for accessibility. Our playground has that factor, accessibility, but also has inclusive elements, and a destination playground where we want kids of all ages, abilities to be able to play together. Not just one group or not one group, but everyone to come to this playground and have some features for them. So that's where ours is a little more unique from others that are designed specifically for maybe accessibility or wheelchairs or different aspects. We want this to be challenging for any age, any ability, and something that people can have fun at. Inclusive play is a big aspect of ours on that second page again. That talks about having aspects for individuals where they're at based on their abilities, and really promotes that play together with all different age groups and different abilities. So we're not putting one group over in this park or playground and another group that maybe is more challenging over here, that everyone can come to this and play together.
This is probably a stupid question. 6,500 square feet, poured in place rubber surfacing, you pour rubber in place? Or is that just a covering that goes on concrete?
It's a rubber surfacing, like that squishy surfacing that goes over concrete. You pour concrete and then you have 4 to 6 inches of rubber
AstroTurf
surfacing.
or something like that?
No, it's an actual rubber material that can be poured in place
Okay.
over top of the concrete, and then it gives that volley effect. You can still drive wheelchairs over it.
We don't have one in Burlington, so I can't direct you to a good place. I know in larger communities, Iowa City down in the Pedmal, their playground there has rubber surfacing, but it's an accessible surfacing, but also meets those standards for if you fall down and meets that compression and safety aspects.
It's also weather resistant and, you know, has a durable lifespan, so there's like mulch or pea gravel or something like that, you don't have to replace it or freshen it up every year, it's just there for the life of the park.
A large portion of our playground, as we'll go through the images, is that rubber surfacing, but an equally large portion is still mulch because of the cost factor, and some of the play elements are in different surfaces. Also looked at accessible play structures, wheelchair inclusive spinner, wheelchair inclusive swing and accessible swings, musical instruments, improved site access, looking at aspects, not just, we always think of how is it wheelchair accessible, but also there's different sensory needs, autistic children or different children that have different needs, and so there's aspects in this playground that were chosen and implemented specifically for different needs of the individuals in our communities. That third page shows just some of the different elements for all ages and abilities. Some want something a little more quieter, where you can go and hide out under a log or share space with someone in a wheelchair on a swing or a spinner, play on musical instruments and different aspects that are unique to our area. We wanted some play features that you can't find in our region right now. So we have a lot of those typical rotary type playgrounds that everyone sees, kind of that molded plastic, red or blue or yellow. And those are great features, and we want to continue to have some of those in our playgrounds, but we want a playground that also has different features that you can't find anywhere else. So those bottom images on that third page show kind of the layout. This would replace the existing layout but expand it, adding handicap accessible parking and improve site access through it with sidewalks, different features, young and old, a lot of benches, some swinging benches that parents or grandparents can swing on, hanging swinging benches while they're watching the kids or grandkids or others. Some taller tower structures that, just like the curlicue slide, you can get up into the trees. This is into the, we have large oak population there, and trying to get up into those trees to have that feeling of a tree house. And one of those tall tower structures, it's hard to see on here, has a rubber belt that's circular, that someone in a wheelchair that has that ability to get out of their wheelchair and climb up, can climb up that rubber belt and get to the top and go down the slide just like anyone else. So we're not just looking at just that swing and spinner that you think of rolling a wheelchair onto. There's other aspects depending on abilities that individuals can utilize as well. And then kind of groupings, we have a smaller play structure, an area for 2 to 5-year-old kids, and then the larger section for 5 to 12-year-old kids, and then a swing bank, and a lot of those features that will allow kids to play together in different areas. Musical features, that's not something we have in our park. That is something that got brought up kind of to our surprise a little bit more, different sensory elements throughout the playgrounds that different individuals are fond of and want to see as well. So we have kind of a musical walk throughout the playground as well. That fifth page kind of gets to the big number on it. We realized we did Gladys, or Edwin and Gladys White Memorial Park on Angular just a few years ago, and which, if you've been by Angular, you see that scale of a playground, and that was a couple $100,000 playground inside amenities, and that's a great playground for that area. It's more of a neighborhood park. This is more of a regional, county-wide, region-wide park, so the cost naturally goes up. But looking at our initial cost estimates for the total project is $1.9 million, so that's a very big number. But if you look at kind of the breakdown, those play structures, the 2 tall towers and the smaller elements are over 400,000. Play elements, including swings and wheelchair accessible spinner and different elements, are over 270,000. Surfacing, just for that rubber surfacing, and then the mulch aspect is over 200,000. I'd say 185,000 of that is the rubber poured in place surfacing. Mulch is very inexpensive comparatively, but if we want something that's accessible, that's what it costs to do that. Site furnishings and improvements, Big cost there is installation, being the size and scope of this, it's not something that you can just have our seasonal park staff that, although they're capable of installing some of those smaller playgrounds, these are very detailed with foundations that have to be pretty accurate before we put that poured-in-place rubber surfacing on. If they're not, then that'll really have a negative impact on that. And then those tall tower structures that are 20-plus feet tall. So that's a big cost as well. So looking at our playground site, it's a little over 1.7 million, and then adding in additional accessible, handicap accessible parking, and then some of the sidewalk connections to the shelters, to the new the restroom that we just upgraded this summer. It comes in at $1.9 million. So that's the one end of it. The other end of it is where we're at now. We're over over a third of the way there right now, which is, in my mind, very good progress to date. We just had a kickoff at the public library a couple weeks ago. So we're just starting our fundraising aspect of this. Haven't really gotten the word out. This is one of the initial getting the word out as well. But we have over $640,000 raised.
And supervisors, if I might cut in, Eric, supervisors, if you look at the current funding, I suggested to Supervisor McCampbell and also to Eric that maybe we would make a presentation to the county, because this is a unique, only one in the county playground facility. Everybody's gonna use it in the county, not just Burlington residents. In fact, as he alluded to, we have residents now that are leaving, going to Keokuk or Ottumwa to use their facilities. There's nothing like this in this area. So if you can see, we're using local option sales tax is 150, and the Starker Fund is granting us 150, and then we're using our ARPA funds for 200,000.
What's the Starker Fund to be? I'm not familiar with that.
It's has to go ahead, Eric, on
Is
that.
that a city?
It's a funding presented to the city that we're able to draw from that annually, specifically for park projects. We were able to access the interest on that. So we built this up over a couple of years too for this park.
The Starker family in the late 60s, 70s set up an endowment fund specifically for park improvement projects for the city of Burlington. And so the city draws the interest from that Starker fund on an annual basis, and then we can use that money for projects like this.
And this totals build up over a few years. It's not what we did annually,
So I asked if we could be on the agenda to address the supervisors. We would like to see, we're gonna make the formal request to see if we could get you to match our ARPA fund contribution, which is 200,000 out of your ARPA funds. I think it fits in the use of ARPA funding, and I think it's really, could be an integral part of our county as far as Burlington will fix and maintain it in perpetuity. But getting this off the ground, it would be a huge help to have a donation from the supervisors. And we're also going to make a request from other cities such as West Burlington. So that's why we're here today. I didn't mean to cut that part short, but I mean, we might as well get to the money end of it. So I'd like you to consider that. Let Eric finish his.
Let me read this real quick, so because my computer's gonna die, and I promised this lady that I would read this. Hold on. I don't want to get hollered at. It says, "Hello, my name is Brooke Buckley. I have lived in Des Moines County all my life. I'm a single mom to twin adults."
Shane, could you speak up just a little bit?
Yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Brooke Buckley. I have lived in Des Moines County all my life. I'm a single mom to adult twins. One of the twins is special needs. I want you to know how important it is for our county to have an accessible park for all children and adults can come together and teach each other, or teach each, that it's okay to be different and still have fun together. My son Clay is 26 years old, and he has never done what a lot of people take for granted, and that is swing at the park. Have you ever been somewhere where everyone is able to do something fun, but you can't because it's not accessible? Well, if you haven't, then I want you to put yourself in a wheelchair and go somewhere and see the struggle it is to do something that could be simple or not be able to join in. My son has been doing this for 26 years. This playground will be used. It's already being talked about with special needs families from all over Iowa. I shouldn't have to drive to Bentley's playground in Keokuk just for my son to be able to swing. The park equipment should be for everyone, and right now it's not. please, I beg you, please, to put money in this park. All kids with adults with disabilities deserve to enjoy the park, just like people without. And honestly, just be thankful that you aren't in a wheelchair, amen to that. Because this life isn't easy. All I want is for my son to swing at our park like other people and kids get to do all the time. And that's from Brooke Buckley. She's the mother of Clayton Buckley. So I just wanted to make sure I got that read today.
Just to run through other funding, we are applying for grants. We want to get in as much outside funding as we can for this project. We've secured $100,000 from the Walmart Foundation, secured $20,000 from the Murray Foundation. Our Great River Bridge Race proceeds go towards this playground last year and this year. Kind of a plug to sign up for the Bridge Race, which is a couple weeks away. You can run or walk or jog. But those race proceeds go to this, and we're estimating around $20,000 from last year and this year going to the playground. Got a $2,500 Community Foundation grant, and then community donations. Haven't sent out any requests as of yet. It's just been kind of word of mouth so far. So we're just starting that right now. But we at our meeting last Tuesday at the library, we got a $500 check. Someone just came up and gave us. We want to see this park happen. So we've just started. Getting some funds for that from the community, but we're starting kind of a push in the next couple weeks of getting that word out and making those requests from area businesses, individuals, and foundations and local service clubs. So like I said, we're over a third there, but that is a gap that we want to try and close over the next number of months. Our goal, which is ambitious, would be to be open by the end of summer next year. So we want kids to be able to enjoy this and use this, and it's kind of a bigger project than we've ever done in our community, so it's something we want to see a lot of support from. From the Parks Department, we've done some tours of other communities, went to an accessible playground in Urbandale last fall through the Iowa Park and Rec Association, and the support from businesses and individuals and the county and the city and different groups in that community, just seeing on their donor board. That's something we'll have as well as a donor board showing kind of funding levels. It's amazing to see the support that communities can have for playgrounds and parks such as this. So, yeah.
What's lead time and the construction time frame for something?
It's about 2 months for the actual equipment, and then it could be a month or two for actual construction. Just depends on contractor and timing and everything. So they have some contractors that they work with that are specialized in this, and it kind of depends on getting on their schedule and everything. But actual purchase, our goal is to try and purchase equipment before January 1 of this coming year. We know prices are going to go up 5% at that point. So the sooner we can do this and even hold the equipment and continue to get funds is better for us to get that cost out. So, but it would probably be a 2 to 4 month process from the time we start to completion.
As far as funds goes, right now, we don't know what our cost on this public health building is going to be. We're kind of in this gray area right now. Yeah, we got it, yes, we don't. So committing to something right now is kind of hard for us until we get a final. We've got a bridge to build out of it, so. It's not that,
Oh, yeah.
we just don't know.
Yeah, everyone has priorities and projects, and there's a lot of good projects out
I
there.
like your idea. I've been trying to get Conservation Board to put a handicap walk down to the lake for 3 years.
I like it. I like the idea. We've got handicapped kids in Moines County that would love that. I like the fact that you guys are taking care of it, that it's, that we don't have to worry about it. And just speaking for myself, I'm hoping that we can definitely partner up. I'm not sure what amount that that everybody else is gonna be comfortable with. Because for me, I think that falls right in line with ARPA funds. I think there's still gonna be some dollars left. I think it'll be a whole lot, or but there's gonna be enough that I still think, so I'm comfortable with saying, that I would to be a part of that. Again, anytime somebody does something great in Des Moines County for our citizens, especially if the city's taking the lead and we don't have to worry about maintenance and all of that stuff, I think that's a win-win. So I appreciate I appreciate you guys bringing this forward.
Yeah, I think there'll be some economic impact because you will have people traveling in from, because this will be a much bigger scale than the other existing facilities closer. So instead of seeing those dollars go out of our county, they're gonna come back in. So I think it will have some economic impact as well. So, thank you.
We will, buy Shane a broom and a dustpan and walk around, clean it, we'll donate him for that, nothing else.
They've been trying to donate me out for things since I got down.
How many square foot is this area gonna be? I guess it's been long enough since I've been in the park to get an idea what the scale that.
If you see on the
is
back
right-
page, this blue is the rubber surfacing, so that's 6,500 square feet. Just for reference, the last.
Oh,
page.
okay,
Yep. The blue is the rubber surfacing, some
Yeah.
people confuse
Then
that.
the brown is the mulch.
Brown is mulch, and if you go to the very back page, it kind of shows the actual site layout with some of the parking. So the blue is about not quite half of the total playground area, but then some of the additional site amenities, the accessible swings and benches and different things around the perimeter. So it's probably around a 15,000 square foot area.
Okay. Well, I'm not unsympathetic to this request, this cause. I appreciate you being here, coming at this time rather than saying we need an answer in a week. And
Yeah.
give us a little time, because like I said, I'm not unsympathetic. We've got a couple of questions about ARPA funding, and the ARPA funding does something a little different for the county, maybe not, is that if we're gonna build a bridge, or road improvements or something like that, because over the years, the state gives us highways and bridges, says congratulations.
Right, there you go.
Anyway, well, to spend over $200,000 to borrow on a bridge is, has to go through a bond issue. So that $200,000 won't put up a bridge. Anyway, so we were able to use bonding on the bridge by case because it's adjacent to or touches the city. I think the south end of that is in Burlington or touches Burlington or something
Quarter
like
of the
that.
bridge is
So
in the
anyway,
city.
for some reason, when they wrote the code, it said that you can use bonding as long as it's adjacent to, touching, or whatever it is, and you might have read that. It's really strange anyway. So, we went through those numbers, and I'm sympathetic to your request. I am. I'll see what we can do.
That's all we can ask.
Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate your support, and if it makes sense, we can come back when it's convenient for you to make a specific request. And it might be too, if it works, you could break your donation into two parts too, if it makes sense to offer something now, and then once you get through the public health facility or the bridge project and you better understand your financial situation, you can make a closing contribution towards the end of the project or something like that too.
Okay. Well, I certainly wish you luck. And I guess as I think about it, and I ask about those port, I've seen things like this. My grandchildren live in Miami. I guess I've been to parks like that where they have, and I didn't think much about the, but it was a little softer than just, I originally thought it was just like AstroTurf or something like that. But it's a little softer than that as I think back on it.
Yep, it's 4 to 6 inches depending on the fall zones and everything.
So, yeah, so,
What's the life of that projected to be?
Around 20 years or so. We have, there's the high traffic areas, like at the bottom of slides and around the spinners. Those are separate areas that you can pull out and re-pour after a number of years, but around 20 years is what they're estimating. But it just depends on use and weather, and if you're able to replace those high traffic areas sooner, maybe the rest of it can last longer.
My sixth grade school teacher, her name was Marjorie Dankworth. And I think it was her family that donated the grounds for the Dankworth Park.
Lydia Dankworth.
And I think it was her, might have been her aunt, but, that's about the only thing I remember about sixth grade, when I had anything else.
That's a good thing.
So I think you've got a good plan. It's a SMAC plan.
Mhm.
It's a specific plan, it's measurable, it's achievable. It sounds like it's compatible.
Done a lot of research, looking at other communities, getting community input,
Yeah.
and hoping to be able to get that community support at this point. But we do have a website on the back page there, if you want additional info, or reach out to myself or mayor or city manager here if you have additional questions. We'd be happy to answer them anytime.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The lady-
Have a
the
great
lady, the
time.
lady told me, she said, if you build this, they'll come. Isn't that from a movie or something?
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Have a great day.
John, I think I seen you last week.
Thanks, sir.
Where at?
At dinner.
Oh, yeah?
You was busy, Bob, I didn't get to say hi to you. You was, didn't you go to Billy Sims?
Yes, what was I there for? Oh, I was there with my son.
For barbecue.
No, I was